Okay, cool. The electrons are hooking up. We are getting all connected up. Hey, this is Ann Sieg here from the E-commerce Business School, and we've got a special event going on this weekend. But first, I got to let you know this is a broadcast of, we call it the Voice of E-commerce, which is the broadcasting arm of the E-commerce Business School, where we like to educate people on what we have to offer folks so you can learn more about us and hopefully join us inside the E-commerce Business School community. But all to say, we're having a very big Grand Day opening, and as part of our Grand Day opening, we're bringing in members as well as faculty, staff members of E-commerce Business School. So we have Sohail, I don't see your last name a whole lot, Chatoor?
Yeah, pretty much. That's good. That's close.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome.
That's fine. Right. I just realized you've never said my last name before.
I don't think I have, and I'm like, oh, am I going to stumble horrifically? But hey, this is fun. This is awesome. So I work really closely with Sohail on a daily basis because we are the marketing pump it out machine, right?
Oh yeah, every day. What is it? Skype calls until like 1, 2 in the morning.
Oh, and Sohail especially is very fun when we have our 9 a.m. staff meetings.
Oh yes, because I still live on my university student schedule of going to bed at 4 in the morning and waking up whenever. So
it's a beautiful fit for you, in other words.
Oh yeah, that whenever becoming 9 a.m. has just been lovely.
So we're being mildly facetious. As it turns out, Sohail is running a comedy club. Well, let's start there. Sohail, you're here as our chief copywriter for our front-end marketing. So people are going to see a lot of your work and have been over the last 3-4 months or so. So why don't you let us know where you're located, a little bit about your background, and then we'll talk about, pray tell, why would you come into the E-commerce Business School? But so your background.
Yeah, that sounds like a good start. So I'm based in Toronto, Canada for the next week. I like to travel. I'm a big traveler, so I'm actually about to head out on a little adventure. I'm moving to Costa Rica for 3 months to escape this Canadian winter. So I'll be there from December to the end of February. My background, this is one of those situations where I kind of look at my life and go, how did I end up here? I went to university to follow that traditional route, go to school, get a degree, get married, have kids, get a job you hate for the next 50 years, die, normal stuff. But when I was somewhere between my second and my third year of university, I got into stand-up comedy, but unfortunately there was nowhere in my university town to actually perform. So what I did was I started my own show. And originally this was just going to be a simple open mic. All I wanted was really an opportunity to practice my material. But there was no supply in our city and a ton of demand for high quality comedy. So very quickly what I realized is that, one, there was a way to monetize this, but two, there was a way to serve a lot of people and a gaping hole in the market. So what I did was I transitioned out of having like a quote unquote open mic into having a full on professional style comedy show with professional touring headliners and hosts, high level comedians. And as I did that, I realized I had a lot more fun being off stage and putting everything together than I was just on stage being, the center of attention for 5 to 7 minutes. And I think that's where the business acumen came in. It's where I started loving, big picture stuff and putting things together. That ended up being my first business, which I ran all through university for about 3 years. That's pretty much my background.
So when you were 18, you started the club and ran that for about 3 years?
19.
Okay, what I love about that story, because I'm a little bit unabashed about this, I'm just gonna say, I am much more keen on real world acumen, getting out there and doing the real deal rather than high-level academia. So sorry if this is offending hordes of people, but anyways, I could go on another hour about that. However,
the irony of that sentence is that you and I both did the same degree.
It's true. This is really true. So there you are going through university, which is to prepare you for said career, whatever. But in the meantime, you're seeing a gaping hole in the marketplace, which is comedy. You decide to fulfill that, but you also enjoyed it. It's something you liked, right?
I did. I really loved, I had a lot of, how do I say this without offending? I had a lot of stuff to work through. And comedy was a really good medium for helping me deal with a lot of that, which really helped.
Interesting. So you see comedy as a coping mechanism of sorts.
It was. Another copywriter I know said this really well. He was a former professional comedian, and he said, comedy is like therapy, and I got cured. And I think that says it perfectly. I had a lot of stuff to work through. I got through it all. And the interesting thing, the fickle thing about comedy is if you don't find your own jokes funny, no one else is going to find them funny. So when I was doing all this self-deprecating humor, when I believed it, it was funny and I got lots of laughs. But then it got to a point where I was like, I don't even believe this anymore. And and I stopped wanting to write more jokes. I stopped wanting to be on stage.
So the therapy did its job, essentially.
Yeah. I'm going to use an economics term. It basically, marginal utility was zero. Like it stopped being useful to me anymore. It stopped serving a purpose. And so it made sense to move on.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And people are going, oh, no, wait.
Yeah, people are so confused. They're like, comedy, economics, what the hell? What's going on?
What's going on here? All right. So, and hey, anyone here, you go ahead and say hi. There is Candida in the house.
Oh, hey,
Hi,
Candida. How are you?
She's awesome. And it's weird. I see there's comments, but I can't read them. So I know oh, here we go. And she's waving. She's saying that is amazing. Okay, good deal. So anyone who's since rolled in, make sure you write a comment so that we know we're still alive, right? This is how we gain our energy.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
A little black Zoom box.
Little black Zoom box. So this is pretty cool. You slipped into business by default by meeting your own personal need. It ended up meeting its objective at a personal level, but then it opened up a whole new doorway into, oh, this is a business ecosystem here that I've developed and I kind of like this and orchestrating things. So speed forward. When I was actively looking for someone in a particular role, and that being through Codeneer, a copywriter to help lighten my load, because I was the main chief copywriter. And I'm like, I just can't go to the next level if I'm constantly pumping out copy. So Cody dropped a lure in a certain said site, and then he's reeling him in and he interviewed a bunch. He said, Ann, this is the best guy. That was you. I don't know if you know that backstory. Now you do. Yeah. So he went like this and it was done. That's Cody. So anyways, it was very fast. So you tell us a little backstory, because copywriting is a very, very unique skill set. It's a different way of writing. It's a different way of thinking, seeing the world, et cetera, et cetera. So give us a little backstory on that. And then I'm going to share about when I interviewed you. There were some fun moments there, but what's what's your backstory on then what led you this way?
So for me, when I got into, I fell into this whole world of internet marketing and copywriting all by accident. I got introduced to the world of online marketing when I was probably 19. So just when I was 19 or 20. So just when I was like in the midst of running my comedy business. And I discovered this whole new world of, oh my God, I don't have to be in one place to make money. I can do it from anywhere in the world. I love to travel. Like I said, I'm going to Costa Rica for 3 months. I love to travel. So for me, this just seemed like a match made in heaven. And I tried everything in the internet marketing space, everything. Like you name it, I've done it, most of which I did badly, but I understand the theory about how all of these things work. I just didn't have either the time or the commitment to put, really what it was I just didn't, like if it got hard, I would just switch, which isn't a good thing to do by any means. It did end up working out in my favor, but not something I really recommend. I tried everything and I just nothing really fit. Nothing really felt like something I was willing to commit to. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is since I was I've been writing creatively since I was a kid. When I was in high school, I wrote and directed plays at my school. And I've been in sales since I was 15 years old. So take all those moving parts, internet marketing, sales, a love of writing, really a love of reading too, and put it all together with, ironically enough, an economics degree. And you get, how do people make decisions? How do you get people to make decisions that work for you? How do you do something from anywhere in the world? And how do you make a career out of writing without being like broke? And you put it all together, and I got into copywriting, and it was just unbelievable. Like it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
So we're going to have to briefly explain copywriting.
Oh,
Only
yeah.
for the fact because so many of our people come in through Shop Your Way to Wealth or arbitrage method, and there is zero marketing. You're just scanning with your phone, you know, because Amazon has done all the marketing, which is it is a skill set. So talk about the difference, because we're going to have people watching this who have no idea what copywriting is. So what's the difference between, maybe we'll just say content writing, if you
Right.
can, and just ordinary writing, but copywriting. So let's dig in there.
So how I usually explain this to people when they ask me what I do, when I just tell them I'm a marketing consultant because it avoids most of the questions. But if they choose to dig deep, I explain it this way. I say a copywriter is someone who writes materials that are specifically designed to get a certain response. What that means is if you write something that gets people to click through on a Facebook ad, to get people to opt into your email list, to get people to pull out their credit card and buy something, that is the most powerful skill you can have, because it's nobody can ever take that away from you. They can take your house, they can take, you know, they can take your Facebook group, they can shut you down, like your email list, they can shut down your website. But if you have the ability to turn your words into money, there's nothing more powerful on this earth than that. And when people still look at me and think I'm funny for saying things like that, I usually go, okay, you know how sometimes you're on Facebook and you see an ad and you click on it and you see a wall of text and at the end it asks you to buy something? And they go, yeah. I'm like, I write those.
Yeah.
So I write those.
That's a perfect example. We call it making money print on demand, money on demand. It's a skill set. You're right. If you have so many other things taken from you, a platform gets wonky, Amazon, who knows what all. But to have this skill of knowing how to set up basically a sales environment of sorts, and we can't go deep into offers, structuring offers and all that. This is really advanced stuff.
Yeah.
But we definitely are direct response marketers. And that's a big difference from content marketing, which is, content.
Oh, here's my blog. Like, it's definitely a different skill set, writing blogs versus writing things that are meant to elicit a certain action. By the way, if you haven't noticed by now, Ann and I are both real nerds about copywriting. So you're going to see us geek out a couple times throughout this call.
Yeah, there's some serious geek mode here. So which brings me to when I interviewed you for the first time, one of the first questions I asked you, I said, well, who are some of your mentors? And that to me was like, boom, perfect kind of fishing lure. And do you remember how that conversation then blossomed out of that?
Oh yeah, that was a really interesting conversation, because you said, who are your favorite copywriting mentors? And I went down the list of people who I've learned the most from when I got into copywriting and when I wanted to refine my skills. And one of the names I dropped was David Garfinkel. And funny enough, David Garfinkel was someone you mentored under personally for an entire year. And small world, huh?
And made a product together too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's there. And then John Carlton, you mentioned too. I'm like, yeah, I was in John's course, copywriting simplifiers, simple
writing system.
Simple writing system, yeah. So that was a lot of fun. So here's what I want to focus on is being a master of your craft. And I think this is really important to talk about, because there's people who are coming out of an employee mindset and into a business mindset. Is you have to have a certain love and a passion, I think. I mean, without it, it's going to be tough. You know, you're just turning beets in the soil and it's just hard, back-breaking work. But when you have this love to being a true craftsman, so that's what I felt with the way you would talk about copywriting. And you bought a course, and there you are at Trifecta. We're meeting for the first time in July. You got a whole sales letter printed out, and you're just like a mega nerd studying that. You couldn't get your eyes off of that thing.
It was such a good sales letter. I was rewriting the whole thing by hand. It was so good.
Well, let's talk about that. And by the way, this is, hey there, hi, Ty. Okay, cool. We got Ty and Nina, or Ty Nina, I'm not sure there. So we're going to talk about that geeking out, because this is how hardcore it can get when you really want to hone a craft, and copywriting is a high level craft. And I want to make this distinction for our wonderful Amazon sellers, by the way. I am going to make this distinction. We do digital marketing. Digital marketing is selling an idea. So digital marketing can be longer sales letters, longer sales presentations. Now, to the benefit of those of you as a e-commerce seller, and you're selling you're selling this. So this is not going to take a 20-page sales letter.
No, it's a calculator.
It's a calculator. You write, some features and benefits, but Lordy be it is not a 20-page sales letter. So I just want to say, to put this into relevancy for the people who are watching, when you're doing e-commerce, you are selling a physical product that is nowhere near the difficulty to sell an idea, such as our Shop Your Way to Wealth course, our print on demand. Like right now, we're offering a free membership into the e-commerce business school, and we have to structure an offer even for people to give their name and email address. Yep. Or it could be just, at minimum, we want that email address for the reason, folks, so we can then set up this relationship. They basically give us permission to contact them again. That's what an opt-in page is. But all to say, so you and I are digital marketers, to make that a distinction from e-commerce sellers. You don't have to fret and worry about where we're going. However, there is salesmanship involved. Your thank you page, structuring offers, we're not going to go into all of that. But all to say, this is what you and I do for the machinery to grow EBS and bring people in. So what were we talking about? Oh, being a master of your craft. So speak to that, like you just came from a workshop and whatnot, and just your dedication, because I definitely note it.
It's a never-ending process, and I really like something. I really like the ability to get into something where you can constantly be achieving results, but know that you can always improve. I think there's something really, I don't know, irritating about achieving, about plateauing at any level, about being able to be like, okay, this is good enough and you can't get better. And what's nice about copy is that if you ever get complacent, the market kicks your butt. It always comes and goes, nah, you need to improve, come up with something better because we're tired of this idea. This concept no longer works effectively in this advertising space. It forces you to constantly be learning, and it forces you to constantly be a student of your craft, because trends, markets are always changing. Human nature stays the same, but everything around human nature is always evolving as, technology improves, as access to information improves. And what's awesome about copywriting is that you have to force yourself to keep leveling up. You have to force yourself to keep learning in order to stay ahead of the curve. And it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you motivated to keep going, and it sparks that competition. It's impossible to get bored.
It's impossible to get bored.
That's what makes it so much fun.
And so to that, I just want to speak to people. So like, this is the fun part for me. And I could see you had it, because you're like, oh, we get past this weekend, I'll tell you what. Okay, well, I'll make a deal with you, Ann. And you made a deal. As long as we can further optimize, I'm like, you ain't kidding. I am a dog to a bone on that one. In that I too, and it's a fascination thing, is what it is. You get, so where a lot of people would go, and I see it, I'm watching it as people are going through the very beginning levels of learning Facebook, etc. You're just in test mode. And that's how I look at marketing. It's nothing more than a series of tests. It's you run a test, you look at the data, you theorize, you make a hypothesis, and you decide which variable you're going to change to create the outcome you want. It's like being a scientist. So my dad was a scientist, so I think that maybe helped. It was always this figuring out mode. And to me, that's the chase. That's the fun part.
Yeah, it's nice to throw something together the first time and have a base to work with, but it really gets fun when you're like, okay, let's like dive into the numbers and see if we change this, what happens here. It's like being in like a chemistry lab almost, because you're like, oh, if I add this to this, Does it make this or does it explode? And then how do I reverse it and go back to what it was and then try again? That's what's so much fun about marketing. It's like people are scared of numbers, but the only thing in marketing that doesn't lie is the numbers. Like you can ask survey, you can run surveys and you can ask your audience things and you'll get some answers, you'll get kind of an idea and you can see some trends. But if you don't have underlying numbers, you're relying entirely on people.
Yeah.
And like we all know this, we've all been in customer service, we've all worked with people before. There's no consistency there, but the numbers will always tell you the truth. And when marketers go from achieving moderate success to high success, it's all because they've embraced an understanding of the numbers, or at least an appreciation of data, and they hire people out to do it if they can't do it.
Absolutely. It always comes down to those numbers. So I really enjoy that. And I love working with Sohail in that capacity when I can study the data and then I can go, oh, you know what we could do here? Yeah, let's go for that. Like, we call it the indoctrination series, an email campaign. And we're not going to go all fancy into this stuff, but you have to have this love of outcomes. And how do you create different outcomes? It's really the bottom line. We got this outcome. How can we get that an even better outcome? It's really, well, anyway, so we'll just kind of wrap it up there because I don't want to overwhelm people. So here's what I do want to focus on that will be more practical, because we're kind of more working on the back stuff that people don't hear of. But I will say for those who are building e-commerce stores, the work we do is highly translatable. And they won't have to work nearly as hard as we do, but they definitely have to look at the numbers. Okay, so Sohail, you came, I interviewed you like the first week of July and I said, you need to come to our event. You came to Trifecta and you got to see, which is, by the way, our series of e-commerce arbitrage workshops. So it's a 3-day event. So you got to see our community in motion. Now you've been to a lot of live events. You've been in a gazillion different training programs out there. And I want to believe, and you can counter me, that it's hard to get behind something to sell something that you don't believe in. But what did you see here that made it different? Because you did give me feedback when you were at the workshop.
I've never seen that level of dedication to actually imparting knowledge at a live event. Most live events that I had been to would often focus around a very high level, minimal information type Friday. And then on the Saturday, it's like very little information and an entire day of just like wearing you down to pitch you something and get you to buy something. And a lot of times it involves like shaming people for not taking action. And then on the Sunday, there's a little bit more training and then like another pitch. It almost seems like when you go to those types of events, you're paying them to sell you something. And that's not why people attend live events. People attend live events to learn, to at the very least be given a framework of a system in order to do something with it. Whether you go to like, a motivational speaker or you go to a make money training event, either way, you're going for the purpose of learning something so you can take what you learn and apply it to improve your life in some way. Most of these events don't work like that. This was the first event I had ever attended where all of it was focused on giving as much as possible to the people who had paid to be there. And it blew my mind. Everyone there was wrapped with attention. They were asking questions, they were taking notes. And the instructors, Brian, of course, Tim, all of them, just wanted to impart as much knowledge as possible, to give people the tools to really get ahead. And it was beautiful because I'd never seen that before. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't have that perspective from someone to say that, but I've heard people have gone to so-called like-kind events, and it's a smattering of speakers, and every speaker has something to pitch. And it's just like, and I thought, oh man, I couldn't even consider doing that. I mean, we are the e-commerce business school, and we have a distinct goal in mind, which is to be with people in their life journey as an entrepreneur. So Sohail, I don't know if you'd been in anything like kind relative to, we have such a thoroughness relative to mentorship and the resources that we give to have that direct interplay with our students. my big claim is we have so many tools and resources in place. It's almost physically impossible to exhaust all the resources that we have for people. And not because I'm an educator. So what I don't want to have said of the EBS system, oh, I never got the help that I needed. I don't want any person to ever leave our community and say, that's what happened. And so we have so many resources. So I'm just curious, I don't know how many you've been in that were mentorship of any kind of level, et cetera. But, and I don't think you've ever seen everything that we have in, for example, e-commerce master's program, e-commerce enterprise, but it is such a bewildering, amazing support. Bewildering. I just mean that it's so in depth.
It's awe-inspiring. It's funny because you're right when you say, I still don't know everything we have access to. Like I've been with the team since July, but we'll still be in meetings where you'll say something and I'll say, what? And you'll be like, oh, it's part of this. I'm like, I don't understand anything you just said. That's 7 more programs that I didn't even know we had. And that's how thorough it is. And it's designed specifically to get people to go from where they are to where they want to be. And there's all the tools along the way, but it's not just tools. You have access to people, you have access to coaching and real research and a community. I think if anyone comes out of the e-commerce business school and says something like, oh, I didn't get the help I needed, they should get their head checked, because there's no way that's true. That there's something missing there. There's so much value that this company gives. And when you said we want someone full-time and not someone who's just going to be a freelancer who's going to treat us like another client, but rather be a part of our team and be part of our ecosystem. And you flew me down to see that sealed the deal for me. I was like, if this is what you guys are doing at such like at all, like it doesn't matter about price point. At like the most low price point to the highest, you're offering way more support than you could get anywhere else. I was like, that's a movement I want to be a part of. That's the way it should be.
Well, let's dig just a little deeper and then we'll probably give it a wrap. But I want to share this with you. We have Martha in the house. She says, Sohail is awesome. We met at the Trifecta and he was a very kind, funny young man. Great interview, Anne.
I forgot about the little side hustle you guys had me do at the event.
Ernesto.
Yeah, I had to pretend to be a Filipino VA because apparently Brian didn't know VAs also exist in India, and I could have just done that with a better accent.
Yeah, that could have been a better match than Filipino. All right, so you are now inside our team. And and it's interesting with the people who come into our staff. Robert comes to mind because I'm like, wow, you're 19, you've got 6 Shopify stores, you've got 1 million followers on Instagram. Like, so how come, help me out here. He said, I want to be a part of a team. I'm successful as a solopreneur, but I want to experience a team. So in terms of working with our team, scratch the 9 a.m. meetings, just set those aside for a moment. And especially relative to the marketing, and maybe speak to, we maybe have just a little bit of velocity here. Yeah, I don't know. Share because you've done a lot of marketing and you set up a business such that it could be so automated that your goal in setting up that automated business tool was so you could do copywriting full time.
Yeah.
So what is the experience in terms of context of anything you had previously in terms of being in a team of this level?
Well, I think what's nice about this team is that even though everyone has some stuff going on the side and has their own business interests on the side, this takes first priority. And you can tell that the team works because we all treat this as priority number 1, as opposed to just another thing in the queue or just another cog in the machine. It really is EBS and then other stuff. And what's really valuable about that is everyone brings their all to the team when we're creating a new product, when we're, planning an event, when we're in the meetings. Everybody's fully present because they truly commit to making this work. They truly align with the vision. When I came to that event, you had me read that book, Tribal Leadership, which everyone on the team has read. It's a fantastic book, by the way. Because we all align with the vision. I think what's really nice about being part of this team is that because everyone's committed, there's so much more we can do. And like, even from a little bit of a selfish perspective, there's things I can test and things I can experiment with that I couldn't do alone because I didn't have access to those resources. As a team, there's more things that we all benefit from by all contributing to the mentality. I'm trying not to sound like a communist, but you know what I mean. Like, we all contribute a little bit, but we all are able to take more out as a result.
Yeah, no, we do more together than apart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's fun in our team meetings. There are frequent book studies and references. And just last night, we were talking about yet another book, and we're mega book readers in terms of it is a staff that genuinely everyone is wanting to level up and play their best game and not just kind of coast along. I'm filling a seat. And I always tell people when I'm hiring them, I'm not interested so much in filling a position as I am in fulfilling the vision of the company. And that this, like, you can find talent. There's lots of talent out there, but I need people who fit in the team culture and dynamics of what we're doing. And that's why I like having you at the event to see who we were and what we're about. So yeah. Well, we have gone long. You mentioned something in an email. We could just 1 minute longer or whatever. You said, hey, is anyone interviewing you, Anne? I said, actually, no. But so we have gone long, but there's no hard, fast rules here. So I don't know if you want to do that or if you got to wrap it up and scoot. It's perfectly.
No, I think we can run a few questions for Anne. Are there any questions in the comments that people want to ask?
Let's just see. You guys have anything?
30 seconds.
Well, I drink my kombucha. How do you say
Kombucha.
that? Kombucha. I don't see anything yet, but you can think of something.
I mean, we could go into like your whole backstory and everything, but we'd be here for days. So let's talk about some stuff that's more recent. In the last month, because I know you love to read. You love to read like I love to read. So in the last month, what's your favorite book you've read?
Oh man, they're on the living room. Well, okay, here's one that I was just sent. So I find that if I do a Facebook Live and I talk about books, it's kind of cool. People are sending me books. All right, darn it all anyways. So this one was unusual. It's nothing to do with business, but it kind of is. So do you see the title?
I decided to live 120 years.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
The Ancient Secret to London. Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was because I was getting out there and I was kicking and screaming, literally fighting every way to not cross the line into a new decade. Okay, there you go. That's about all I'm going to say. And so I thought, suck it up, Anne, grow up. And so I thought, yeah, I'll know how I'll do it. I'm going to do a Facebook Live and I'm just going to put it out there and just get it over with. Kind of that whole thing when for me, I have learned when fear is written in front of me and written around a doorpost, that means get going, girl. And you walk through that thing and just suck it up. So that's kind of what I did there. So as a result of that Facebook Live, one of my members from one of my past programs sends me this book. And I'll tell you what it did for me is this whole notion of retirement is kind of he doesn't speak too favorably of it because a lot of people kind of start to, I'm in dying mode now. Oh, I don't know what to do with myself mode now. And I thought, that is so not me. Because I remember a gal asking me that, my best friend from years ago, and she said, so Anne, do you know what you're going to do after you're done homeschooling and your kids are raised? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going to blow it up. Meaning, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you I'm going to be as busy as I've ever been. Ta-da, here I am an internet marketer now.
Yeah, so, I can't imagine. I remember, so when I came to that Trifecta event and Cody said, my goal is to retire Anne. And just the look on your face was pure fear. Like, retire what? Like, there's no way. It makes, and it does, like what you said is true. Like, retirement doesn't make sense anymore. People, lifespans are so much longer than they've ever been. You retire at 65. There's no guarantee you're going to have money when you're 90 because it just doesn't go as far between inflation, expenses, costs of living going up, everything. But there's so many ways, regardless of whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or you're already retired, there's still ways to make money passively without having to commit all of your life to someone else. There's still ways to better and that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You can do it at any age.
Exactly. So I thought,
you don't need to wait to die.
It really, so that massively changed my perspective. It was kind of like a, right turn and going, yeah, forget that noise. And I thought, my book club, for example. Well, that's something I'm passionate about. Why wouldn't I want to do that for 2 full decades? Because it's kind of selfish, actually, to be really honest and transparent. I'm enriching myself while I'm helping others. Heck yeah, because I always want to be enriching myself. And I have my parents to thank for that. They always had study clubs going on and book things and this and that. They're still doing it. My dad, I come into their house, they've got new library books, and my dad will pick it up and start talking about it. I buy books. They go to my. So I had that, and my dad's a scientist. He's a physicist. He's inventing. He's got a patent going. He's 89.
That's insane.
He's 89. My mom walks to the Y. She's 86. She walks to the Y. It's 1.5 miles away. She does her little exercises and walks home. See? So you wonder, success leaves clues. Longevity leaves clues. So anyways, it's not a business book, but it has impacted my mindset on how I move forward in the future. He said, where's your plan? And most are like, well, I'm winding down. I'm like, I ain't winding down.
You're just getting started.
I'm just getting started. That's exactly how I view it. And it just made me have a lot better attitude instead of, oh, I have this race to complete and I got to be here at 65. And I thought, forget that. So that was the big game changer. Judith is here. She says, I just retired and now I can do what I want with business.
That's the right attitude. It's not, it's not working for subsistence. It's not working to pay the bills. It's doing what you want and making money at the same time. And there's no limit to what you can earn. It's all about mindset. And it's really one of those things where you can have all of the tools and all of the knowledge, but if your mind is still limiting you, you're never going to exceed that threshold. Once you unlock the power, once you realize how much money there actually is in this world, and something all of my mentors have told me is, like, they all say the same thing. There is so much money in this world. It's like anything you make will be a drop in the bucket. So just think big.
Think big.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you have $1 million or $10 million. Either way, it's a drop in the bucket. So why are you settling? Just go big.
Go big. Or go home.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so no, I really believe that.
You'll still be way ahead of where your mindset was 10 years ago.
Think as far and as big as you want, because a job is with a cap. This is not with a cap, and it is worth the effort. All right. Do you want to ask one last question and then we'll give her a wrap?
What are you going to do when you retire?
Well, oh boy, I want to, you know what? I signed up for Tai Chi. I'm starting Tai Chi December 5th. It's every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I can still come home and do member orientation, but it's going to be for an hour because my mother takes Tai Chi and she loves it. And she'll sit there and show me this stuff. And I'm thinking, man, that would really relax my mind and get me centered. And I love physical motion. So I'm taking Tai Chi.
Yeah, you go to any park in the summer, at least in Europe, and it's filled with people doing Tai Chi, and it's actually so relaxing. Mm. Like when I was in high school, I spent a summer studying in France, and every day in Paris we'd go to a different park, and every park there was just a group of people doing Tai Chi, and it almost makes the whole setting more relaxing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because you see people working in a coordinated manner, which, by the way, there's a documentary, I can't find it, but I think it was called The Happiness Factor. And what they have found, sociologists, that oxytocin, which they consider that the love hormone, is most prominently released when people are doing physical activities together. And so they are featuring this little activity in Japan of the elder generation with wee little ones. And that is when humans bond, just statistically through scientific studies, which I love that kind of stuff. I should have been a sociologist in a different life, but essentially as a copywriter, we are a sociologist of sorts.
Oh, yeah. I love meeting psychology students in university and being like, if I could do it again, I might be where you are right now.
It's so correlated, what motivates people to take action, whatnot. Well, so we've had a really lengthy get together here. So here's what I would encourage everyone as closing. Some of you already are e-commerce business school members, but if you're not, we have a free membership. Go to joinebs.com and you have 2 options there to move forward with. Sohail was very, very integral in that project. Very, very much the design and
Team
everything.
effort.
What's that?
That it was a team effort. It was
Well, it
everybody.
was a team effort, but you put, you know, how the page got laid out and whatnot. That was your suggestion. I remember that. And because you're
That's
constantly
actually-
studying.
Oh yeah, that's actually a perfect example. The free membership has so much in it. There's more in that free membership than I've ever seen in things I paid for. It's insane. Like group coaching in a free membership, like if you're not part of this community, like why? Just sign up. It's free. Like there's literally no more barriers. If you're that scared of giving away your email address, get another email address. Like it's not like there's so much free value, and all it will do is help you make more money and level up. So why are you not a part of it already?
Very well said. I would agree because we're teaching there. One of the courses is foundational for marketing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, it's like pouring the cement into the foundation of the building. And I don't doubt there's some people who could take that course over 3, 4, 5 times just to let it really sink into their minds because they've never learned to think in that way. And it is a different way of thinking. It's not like you just click a light switch and all of a sudden you shift into that mindset. It's a different way of thinking. You learn marketing and you will never see the world the same again.
No,
Ever.
absolutely not.
Never. When you drive down the road, anything you do, you will never see the world again the same. And it's really fun. It's very empowering. All right. Well, great being here with you, Sohail.
It was a blast. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All righty. Well, great connecting. And I'm pretty sure I'll be talking to you soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a
Yeah,
good
all
weekend.
right.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Thanksgiving, Americans.